In this tutorial, I'm going to be introducing you to a brand new feature, which I know a lot of you have been waiting for and I think are really excited for. And we're really proud of what the team has done. This feature is Zoom. So what this allows you to do is create Gutenberg blocks that contain Zoom meeting details for people to join a Zoom meeting and watch and download the recordings on the site. And even cooler, we give you the ability to create meetings within a social group so that the members of your group can actually join the meeting together and have a much more interactive experience within the group. So they have upcoming meetings, you can create a new meeting, and we can go into past meetings and filter meetings by those that are recorded and even watch the recordings. And especially right now with the current situation in the world, where almost every business in the world has been forced to move online and so many people are using Zoom to interact with each other, I think you guys are going to find this super useful, and it's really going to add another layer of interaction to your community. And I want to say that I'm really proud of what our team was able to accomplish. Prior to everything going on with COVID, it was not on our agenda to build Zoom this year, and we rushed to prioritize this. And I know some of you have been waiting a while for this, but at the same time, in a pretty short period of time, we've built something that I think is really awesome. So it's important to note that these Zoom features are actually not part of the free BuddyBoss Platform plugin. Today, we are really excited to introduce a brand new plugin, BuddyBoss Platform Pro. The whole goal of this plugin is to allow us to add really cool, innovative premium features for our paying customers, while still being able to give out BuddyBoss Platform for free and continue supporting that product. So BuddyBoss Platform continues to be our main focus. Everything we're doing now and all of our future plans depend on BuddyBoss Platform being the greatest social networking plugin for WordPress. So that will always be our main focus. And then at the same time, for our paying customers, we want to give you guys really cool features, which we're doing in the Pro plugin. As of today, July 1st, the core flagship feature in BuddyBoss Platform Pro is Zoom, which we're going over in this tutorial. And as time goes on, we will add more and more innovative features into the product. For all of our existing BuddyBoss theme customers, and also all of our future BuddyBoss theme customers, BuddyBoss Platform Pro is now included with your purchase and is able to use the same license key. So no need to worry, you don't need to buy anything new. Just go into buddyboss.com and log into your account area, and you should see BuddyBoss Platform Pro as another plugin that you can download and add to your WordPress admin. And then when you go into BuddyBoss license keys, you will see that what used to be called BuddyBoss Theme has now been renamed to BuddyBoss Theme and Platform Pro, meaning your existing license key will activate both. If it's not working right away, just verify your license and click Update License. And note that I have another tutorial that's all about BuddyBoss Platform Pro. So if you want to learn more, just watch that video. And with that, let's get into the actual tutorial. For this tutorial, I created a brand new dev site that I'm going to play with that does not have Zoom connected to it yet, so that I can take you end to end, showing you how to configure everything. So here in the back end, you can see I've already activated BuddyBoss Platform Pro. You just go into Plugins, Add New, download BuddyBoss Platform Pro from your account area and upload and activate it here, and make sure you enter the license key. And after doing that, you can go into BuddyBoss Integrations, and you'll see a new tab added called Zoom. So we're going to go ahead and enable Zoom on the site. And after doing that, I get some other options. So I can turn on and off Zoom meetings and social groups. So I'm going to go ahead and check that. And that will allow us to have a Zoom tab in our social groups. And then recordings is on by default. This allows Zoom to display recordings for past meetings on your site. So whether you check this option or not, your Zoom meetings can still be recorded, and those recordings will be available in your Zoom account. This is just toggling on and off whether or not those recordings will be available to your members within the website to download and view on the website. Some of you might have some private content in those recordings that you don't want people to easily access. So that's why we give you the option. And note that within groups, the Zoom tab respects the group privacy. So if it's a private or hidden group, the only people who can access those recordings would be the members of the group. And then you'll notice that we have this form down here. This form is to allow us to connect your Zoom account with this website. And once authenticated, that allows us to create meetings in here that will get synced back into your Zoom account. And it also allows us to retrieve things like recordings and other meeting data. So I'm assuming you already have a Zoom account. If not, you should go ahead and sign up right now. Note that which plan you have does affect the features that exist on the site based on the limitations from Zoom itself. So if you have a free account, you cannot have cloud recording. You can let users record the meetings to their own computer, but you cannot have them stored in the cloud, which means they will not display on our website because the API will only provide to us recordings that are stored in the cloud. So you need a pro account for that feature. Another important note is that the free account only provides for one host. So basically your account, you are going to be the host for all of these Zoom meetings. If you want to have alternate hosts, secondary hosts that can also start the meetings, then you also need a pro account. And then if you get the business account, you get a couple extra features like cloud recording transcripts that we can pull from the API and some little things like that. For most of you, you'll probably want a pro account. Some of you might want business. And also note that this Zoom account that's connected here is just for Gutenberg blocks, as it says in the name. Each social group will have its own independent Zoom account connected to it, and I'll explain the logic for that when we get to social groups later in the tutorial. For now, we're going to start with the Gutenberg site-wide Zoom account. So again, I'm assuming you already have a Zoom account, and then within that Zoom account, we're going to create a Zoom app and connect that app to here. So the first thing you want to do is go to marketplace.zoom.us and then come here and click sign in. If you're already signed into your Zoom account, it may auto log you in when you click that. If not, click to sign in. And then once we're logged in, go to develop, build app. And we have to pick an app type. We're going to select JWT, which is an app that supports server-to-server integration with Zoom services. That's what we want. So we're going to click create. You can name this app anything you want. Give it some name that will help you remember what it's for, like the name of your website. So I'll just write Zoom demo and click create. And now we need to enter some information here about your company and some personal info. None of this really matters for what we're doing. Just add the stuff that they're requiring and click continue. And then here you can see the API key and the API secret like we're asking for here. So for API key, click copy and paste that in. For API secret, click copy, paste that in. And then here for Zoom account email, you're going to need to add an email that exists within your Zoom account as one of the hosts. So if you have a free account, that's always going to be your own email. If you have a paid account, you might have multiple licensed users in there, and you'll pick one of those to be the Zoom account email. And whichever one you enter in here, for all of your Gutenberg blocks, that person will be the default host of the meeting always, and you can add alternate hosts if you have a paid account. The way that works is out of our control. That's how Zoom has everything structured. So pick the email from your account to add here and save your settings. And then once you've saved, you can click check connection. And if it says Zoom API is connected, then you're good to go. All right, so now we're going to create some Gutenberg blocks. So I'm going to go to pages, add new. And I'm just going to create a page that will display my Gutenberg block. Now keep in mind, this is supported anywhere in WordPress that you can use Gutenberg blocks. So on regular WordPress pages, you could add it into a Learn-course or a Learn-lesson, anywhere where you have Gutenberg blocks. And we're going to select a block. From here, you'll see a new area, BuddyBoss, and you can add our Zoom meeting block. And then in here, we have two options. We can either create a brand new meeting, which will sync it up to Zoom, or we can add an existing meeting from our Zoom account. So for now, let's create a meeting, and then we need to give the meeting a title. This is the actual title of the meeting that will be shared with other users and synced into Zoom. We need to pick the date. I did say July 1st, but in actuality, I'm filming this tutorial today on June 30th. So I'm going to pick today, and let's say I'll do 10 p.m. And then the time zone is, I'm in Vancouver. It's the same time zone here as Arizona. It will auto pick the correct time zone for me based on the WordPress server time zone. And then recording we can set as cloud or local. Again, you can only use cloud recording if you have a paid Zoom account. So for now, I'll say no recording, and let's select save meeting. All right, meeting has been updated, and we also have some info here you might want to add, like you could add a description for the meeting. You could optionally enter a password. Let's go ahead and do that. And then duration, we want to set the duration for the meeting, so I'll say 60 minutes. And then default host, again, this is your Zoom account email that we entered earlier in the API settings. So whichever user in your Zoom account is mapped to that email is going to be the default host on all these Gutenberg blocks. So in this case, that's me. And then I could add in alternate hosts. For alternate hosts, again, this only works if you have a paid Zoom account. Just enter them by email. So whatever emails you enter here need to exist in your Zoom account, and they need to be licensed hosts in your Zoom account for this to work. Just add their email comma separated. These people may or may not exist in the WordPress site. And whoever you enter here is able to be a host who can start that meeting if you want them to. And then we have some of these other options: start video, require registration, stuff that you would see when you're creating a Zoom meeting from the back end. All right, so I'm going to click Save Meeting. This notice came from Zoom telling me the password does not follow the rules. You can have a maximum of 10 characters. So let's remove some of these characters and try that again. Okay. Page is updated. Let's view our block. So we can see here that we have a little over 2 hours remaining until the meeting starts. We felt it was really important to display a countdown timer in the block because you potentially have people from all around the world who are trying to join this meeting at the exact same time. It is useful to see the time zone, but seeing the exact countdown to the meeting time is even better. And then we can click Meeting Details, and we see all the info for the meeting, the duration. I can view the password that we entered, and I can view the invitation, copy the meeting invite, and that's copied to my clipboard if I wanted to email this to somebody or put it in my calendar or something like that. And then we have the Zoom meeting link, which I can click to actually go into the meeting. And then as soon as there is less than 10 minutes remaining before the meeting starts, this will be replaced with a Join Meeting button. So let me go ahead and show you that. We're going to change the time for this meeting, and we'll make it 2 hours earlier. Let's refresh. And now we get this button to join the meeting. For about 10 minutes prior to the meeting and through the entire duration of the meeting, this button's here, and I can click that and it will take me into Zoom. And from here I can open up my Zoom app and participate in the meeting. And then here I want to show you what a past meeting looks like when it has recordings. So if I click on Show Recordings, I get this pop-up and it shows me all the recordings for that meeting. So a meeting could have multiple different types of recordings depending on your Zoom options that you've configured. So this particular Zoom account allows for a video recording, an audio recording, and a chat file. So I can click on video recording and I can play the video. I can click on audio recording and play the audio clip. I can download that recording. I can also download the chat transcript from the sidebar chat during the Zoom call. And I can copy this link and share that. And that's the link to where Zoom hosts that recording. And then here I want to show you another possible scenario is if in your Zoom account you've enabled forcing passwords in order to access recordings. That's a Zoom setting. Then we add this in here. So if I want to watch this recording, I need the password. So I click Show Password. I can copy that. And then when I click this, instead of popping up in our big player on the site, instead it takes me into the Zoom area because I need to enter the password in here. And then I can watch the recording. All right, so now I want to show you what it's like adding an existing meeting into a Gutenberg block. And then after this, we'll move on to the social groups. So here I can see I have an existing meeting in my Zoom account. It's actually the one that we created. So let's go ahead and remove this block and we'll come back and add a Zoom meeting, and I click Add Existing Meeting, enter meeting ID without spaces. So I'm going to grab the meeting ID and paste it here and make sure there's no spaces and save that. And then when we view the page, sure enough, the same meeting shows up and that works. So you can actually take any meeting that you've already created in Zoom in the past and add that in here. Then one more thing before I jump to groups, I want to show you that we also have a short code if you prefer that. So if I enter a short code, I can do Zoom_meeting ID equals quote, paste the ID again without spaces, close the quote, close the bracket, and update. And if we view the page, that will also display our meeting. Just before I jump into groups, I want to bring up what we support in terms of meeting types. At this moment, at launch, we support single event meetings. So we don't yet support recurring meetings, and we don't yet support webinars. We're working on all that stuff in the background. In the coming weeks, you will see updates with recurring meetings and webinars added to the feature set. With that, let's jump into groups. All right, so here we are in a group, Innovation Club, and I'm gonna go to the Manage screen. And because we enabled Zoom for Groups in the integration settings, we have a new Zoom tab here. And then I can go in here and check, yes, I want to connect this group to Zoom. And then it lets me select the permissions of who can manage Zoom meetings. So for now, I'll say organizers only, and I'll save the settings. This is basically telling me which roles in the group are able to edit and delete and create new meetings. However, it's not controlling who's actually hosting the meetings. Again, that's controlled by Zoom based on who's the default host and the alternate host. So then we have to enter the Zoom API credentials. I mentioned earlier I would explain the logic behind why we have a separate Zoom account for each social group. There are two major reasons for this. The first one is imposed on us by Zoom itself. Zoom has a rule that one single Zoom account cannot have two meetings running at the same time. So you can imagine if you were using your main Zoom account for all of the social groups on your site, people would be creating meetings all the time and they would constantly be conflicting with each other. And that would be a big mess. And the second reason is that we've gotten a lot of feedback from customers that they want it to work this way. They want each group organizer to be able to have their own Zoom account so they can connect it with their own people to help host the meetings, and so they can have their recordings in their own Zoom dashboard. So as a consequence of that, it means that in order to set up a group that can have Zoom meetings, the group organizer is going to have to go through similar steps to what we did earlier, where they will have to create an app and authenticate that app to the group. And there's actually a couple more steps needed for the group, in fact. Now, we realize this is a little bit complicated to do, but there's really no way around it. This is what you have to do to connect a Zoom account to the group. So to make it as easy as possible for your group organizers, we've created this setup wizard that just guides them step by step for how to do this. So they can click this pop-up, and in this pop-up, we take them step by step with explanations and screenshots showing them how to set up the app in the Zoom account and connect it properly. So I'm going to go through this with you, just in case your users have any confusion. At least you can fall back on this video tutorial and watch it and go help them. Although I think we've made it as easy as we could. We're going to assume that your group organizer has their own Zoom account. I'm going to go log in now into a new Zoom account so that I can create a new app for this. All right, so I'm going to go into my setup wizard. It tells me I need to start by going to the Zoom app marketplace and signing in. So let's do that. I was already logged into my regular Zoom account, so it auto logged me in here. And then next step, it tells us to go into develop, build app, and select JWT and create an app name, just like we did earlier. Develop, build app. I'll call this Innovation Club, just so I remember that's for this group. I'll add some data in here and click continue. So it tells us here, add the personal info and click continue. App credentials. So we can actually paste it right into this form. So we're going to grab our API key, which this should all feel familiar so far, but there is one extra step we're going to get to in a moment. And then we have to add the Zoom account email. In this scenario, the Zoom account email will end up being the default host for all meetings within this social group. And I click next. All right, so here's one extra step, is that they have to turn on these event subscriptions. What this does is allows all the meetings to sync back into the group. Meaning, let's say our group has 10 meetings in it, and I go into Zoom and I delete one of those meetings or I edit one of those meetings, we would want that to be reflected back into the group. And the only way to do that is through these event subscriptions. We don't need this on our Gutenberg block because in that scenario, each block represents one meeting. So it's very easy for Zoom to sync the data just back and forth to that one meeting. But in the group is a collection of many meetings that all need to be mapped back and forth, which is a little bit complicated to do, but we managed to make it work. So it tells us here that we want to go into the feature tab and turn on event subscriptions, and we can give the subscription any name that we want. It doesn't really matter. The key step is that we have to grab a special URL and paste it in here. So if you come back here and click copy link, we're giving you that URL to paste. All right, so I'm going to paste in that URL and click save. Now we can see that it generated this verification token. So I copy that and paste it in here and click next. And it tells me that I can click continue back at Zoom and I should see a message that your app has been activated. So I click continue, your app is activated on the account. So I click save. And just like that, it's saved everything in here. I can click check connection here as well. And it says your Zoom API is connected. So from here, now that we've entered all the Zoom API credentials, we have this Zoom tab. And once we go here, we can actually start creating meetings. So I'm going to create a meeting from the front end that will appear in this group. So I'll call it Friday Update Meeting. Okay. I'll leave the password blank for now. I'll say that it's going to be on Friday at 11 a.m. and it's going to be 2 hours. Time zone, I'll leave as is. I'll say that I want to start the video when the host joins the meeting. And then we have our standard meeting options. In terms of recording the meeting, this account that I just connected to this group is a free account, so I can only record it onto my computer. If I was using a paid account, it would give me the option to record to the cloud or to record to my computer. The host is going to be me. I have the default account email. So let's create this meeting. And there we go. We have a meeting scheduled within the Zoom tab in our group. And we can see that it has a countdown to when the meeting's starting. I can view the invitation, copy it, all the same things like we saw in the Gutenberg block. And because we added that verification token, if I update this meeting from Zoom, it should auto sync back. But just in case, if for some reason that doesn't work, you can always click this sync button, which will manually pull all the updates from Zoom and resync. All right, so we do some other cool things. If I go into the activity feed, you can see that there's an activity post created in the group for the upcoming meeting with our countdown timer and everything. And then let me switch to view as one of the members in this group. So let's switch to Maverick. And we can see that I got a notification saying Zoom meeting, Friday update meeting, created in the group Innovation Club. So we are also notifying your users about meetings that are being scheduled. All right, here I am on a different website that's connected to a paid Zoom account. We have our upcoming meetings, and this one has a password. And when I create a new meeting, you can see I have the option to record the meeting automatically onto my computer or in the cloud. This is because this is connected to a paid Zoom account. And so Mehul is the default host. This is his account. And then I'm added automatically as an alternate host because in previous meetings, I had added myself as an alternate host, so it's saving that. And I can comma separate and add more. This is not limited to the people who are part of this group. You could actually add any email address in here, as long as that person is a licensed user within this person's Zoom account and has host capability in the Zoom account. All right, and then we can go into past meetings. And this little icon indicates that the meeting has recordings and shows how many recording files there are. And I can check recorded, and that will filter this list down to just the ones with recordings. So this meeting, as an example, I can click show recordings and I can see all the recordings. And let's go back to upcoming meetings. And from here, we can delete this upcoming meeting, or I can edit the meeting and modify it still here for my group. So as you can see, this integration is very powerful and very practical. And I think it's going to bring the people in your community a lot closer together and make it easier for you guys to all talk to each other. And we're really proud of the work we've done here. I hope you guys love it as much as we do and look forward to many more updates to come.